Art here. All right, guys, we're live. Welcome everyone to another Wednesday Night Live. Tonight's guests are Tony B from the Vapor Trail channel, also creator of the Pulse lineup of vape products and many other. Wait, the YouTube is playing. It always does that. I forgot to. I always forget to shut the YouTube feed off. Also with us, yeah. It's, who is that? Who is that? Also, the founder of Zamplebox, Tony's going to be with us. And of course, we were going to have member spotlight, but she canceled for today. So no member spotlight. If you want to be a member spotlight, please let us know and we'll add you into the show. And of course, your questions. Welcome, Tony.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me. I got to remember to look up here. That's where the camera is.
Yeah, I do that too. I always look to the sides. You're not just the Pulse lineup. You have other things too that I'm just off the top of my head. I was trying to remember some of the other products you designed.
Yeah, there was a lot of one. What's that?
The Pale 2.
Pale 2.
That is right.
Yeah.
You know, the Pal 2 was one of those that I got into because I started using, I like to use the pod systems because for convenience, you know, if I go out with friends, I'm at a restaurant or something like that, and I just want to go out and have a couple of puffs or, I'm not telling you to do this, but I might have slipped into the bathroom here and there and said, I'm good, you know, but I don't like high nic salts. I don't like, 50 milligrams, 35 milligrams even. 25 is the most I will do. And, so I started using those. And then they came and talked to me and they said, would you like to, to do a project with us? And they were talking about the PAL. And I was like, yeah, that PAL. It's pretty much a copy of this, a billet box. And I said, you even have a Boro style tank. Yeah, you guys got to change all that. In fact, why don't you make it like a pod system? Make it even smaller, make it super portable that I can carry around in my pocket and that has good coils so we can just, get satisfaction. So that's how that came about. Yes, the PAL 2.
Yeah. And what other products that you could name them all? Because I was going to go look them all up, but I couldn't remember.
I'm trying to think of them all. I did the Stacked RTA, which was a short-lived project with Case. Even now, I don't know how to pronounce their name.
Yeah. It's like smoke and smoke.
that was a difficult project, man, because I had my ideas, they had their ideas. They were sometimes clashing, and I really liked what we did. But the problem was that when I used that one, that ceramic block that was in there, I guess because I build a lot and stuff, and because I knew that it was ceramic, I would take care with it. I wouldn't just crunch it down, and people were doing that and breaking them. So that was maybe not such a great idea, but it was a great RTA as long as you used it
properly. Yeah. Yes.
So, and I guess that's not a great product if everybody has to think about how they use it. That's definitely something to think about in design. We had the Pulse 22, the Pulse 24, the Pulse V2 RDA, and now we've got a Pulse V2. I can show you from this side, a Pulse V2 mod.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of refinement on the shape. We'll just do this real quick. Well, here's the deal. Oh, this mod. Well, so we'll finish that. So we had the Pulse unregulated mod, the mech mod, the first mod, the OG mod, which I think somebody just showed me that a minute ago.
Yeah, I have one too here.
See, that mod, I had gotten into squonking super heavily, and I was so disappointed that I could not get my hands on like 80% of the mods that were out there. And, I wasn't even trying to use like, hey, you know who I am? I wanted to buy it, and I still couldn't, in half the cases. So, I was like, well, certainly there's something that we could do. And we had done the Pulse 22, and I did that because I wanted a great RDA for squonking. And then with the, with the mod, they just didn't want to do that right off the bat. And I said, well, how about this? How about we make a mod? We make it inexpensive. We just make it like an entry-level squonk mod that everybody can obtain, and it'll be inexpensive, like $30 or $40. And they were like, I think we could do that. And when that mod came out, man, I wish I made a lot more money off of this.
That was a lifesaver for a lot of people. Like you said, a lot of us ran into that problem. We were getting up at 2:30 in the morning, sitting on these websites, trying to get in, just trying to get into lottery.
Yeah, to buy
before just to buy one, and then having to go through the process of waiting. It was difficult.
I tell the story about a convention that I was at. I want to say it was Atlanta, and I had just gotten heavily into squonking, and I would never, ever in my life at that point considered paying $500 for a mod.
Yeah.
But I had my credit card on me, and I went up to this booth, and the modders gallery was like, "Oh shit, there's an SVA."
No, you can cuss. You can cuss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There's an SVA penguin. I must hold it, and it's just this black Delrin beauty. And I was like, "How much is it?" And he says, $500. I go, I hate to do this. So I started to pull my wallet out, and he goes, no. You have to buy a spot for the lottery.
Yeah.
The spots are $15. If you're chosen, then you may buy it for $500. I was like, I bought a spot and I didn't win, and I was like, this sucks. So
they didn't even give you the discount off of the 15 that you invested for the spot.
No,
it was still like 500.
Hey, we have 3 of them here. Okay, so I was like, okay, well, so I went to Steven Z and said, we got to make this mod, dude. We got to make this mod. And as far as my modder friends and stuff, I was like, it's only going to help them, because if you think about it, it's like buying your first camera. You buy your first camera, it's a pretty cool camera, but it just doesn't do what you want it to do. So then you pay a little bit more and buy a new camera. In the meantime, you still have that little beater camera you can use. That was the idea behind that. Of course, we had the Pulse 80 and the Pulse X, which was the 90 watt.
90 watt.
That was an interesting thing, because with that mod, I got a lot of crap for putting out a 2700, and then 6 months later, mind you, putting out a 21700.
Yeah.
Companies do that all the time. Look at Geekface. There's new pages every 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, with that mod, when we put that mod out, you got to understand that it's made of ABS nylon. That ABS nylon mold cost a lot of money, even in China, about $20,000 to make a mold.
Wow.
Yeah.
When we were designing that mod, it was before the 21700 was even a thing. It was like I had to go to the iJoy booth at one of the conventions and beg him to give me one.
Yeah.
So when we were making it, it was like kind of like, is this really going to be a thing? You couldn't get them. People were taking them out of drill batteries and stuff like that. So I said, I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think? And they're like, from our indication, it's not. So we just went with it because we already had the mold. They said, if we spend $20,000 more to make this a 21700, you're gonna have to charge more for the mod.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to do that either. So we just put the mod out. And then when it came to the 90, it was like, well, now we've got our own chip, and we've sold enough of these that we can afford to do a new mold. So let's just do it. And part of it for me was, I was kind of like, okay, my legacy with this mod, I don't want to be like, this would have been a great mod if only it was 21700.
Right.
So a little bit was kind of selfish, because I was like, man, I want this thing to be what it should be. And so we did it. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a great little mod.
What's that?
That was a great little mod. It was a great mod.
Yeah, I loved it.
You guys got some questions for Tony? Who wants to start there? Raise your hands.
What are we in kindergarten?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Wisconsin kindergartner.
For some of your designs, where do you get the idea? Where do you get the ideas from? What inspires you?
Most of it is just from stuff that I've used that I'm like, this could be a lot easier. This is really making me mad. Why can't I put the leads in there right? Why is it, why do I have to bend one coil up just to get under it and snip it and all that kind of stuff? So it's more out of necessity. The squonk mods was more because I was like, I want there to be something affordable out there that I can get and that everybody can get. It was more like, you know what? The easy answer to that is I design things that I want.
Yeah,
so,
that makes sense.
I want it. I will design it.
I will design it.
And your Pulse, the original Pulse mod was my first experience into squonking as well. So thank you for making that.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
It made a lot of people think, you know what? See, because for me, I don't know, man. RTAs, they were good. And then I got an RDTA and I was like, well, maybe maybe I will try dripping. Well, I tried dripping, but it was a pain in the butt, man. I had to carry around that bottle all the time. I was getting crap on my hands, and I was like, there's got to be a better way. And then I found squonking and was like, okay, but there's got to be a cheaper way.
Yeah,
right.
And it doesn't have to always be from Italy.
And that's not to say, guys, that high-end mods or whatever are not good. I love them. I mean, look, I'm vaping billet boxes these days with $160 panels and stuff. So, I'm not opposed to it, but there needs to be something for everybody.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that mod, when that came out, I remember the Zamplebox page just filled with pictures. Everybody couldn't wait to do a hand check with that mod. It was just like, hey, I got the pulse. I was like, hey, all right. and it did.
Of course, there were other circumstances around it that made it a little bit more infamous, but what are you going to do?
And you got guys like me who have friends that do hydro dipping, and they make they dip your doors.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Timmy, you got a question for?
Plus, I guess so. Maybe because my lineage is not quite there. Because I'm trying to think what my first squonk device was.
Topside?
No, the G-Box 200.
I was gonna say, it was probably the G-Box, because I think I talked you into buying the G-Box.
You talked me into buying everything. No, unless it's a billet box, then I might be like, well, hold on, let me go look at the credit card balance.
The billet box.
Am I understanding that the Pulse squonk mod was sort of that thing that took it over the line that made it affordable for people? I guess I'm missing.
I think so, because before the first Pulse squonk mod came out, there was no affordable squonk. I remember going, because I'm in the industry, I remember going to my distributor friends and going, what kind of squonk stuff do you have? They're like, I got this Kanger thing, and that's about it. I might have a, I've got one box here. It's a $200 mod. I don't even know where that came from, that kind of thing. And I was like, that's what I'm trying to avoid. I think the Pico squonk might have been one of the first ones that I got, the Pico squonk, and that Kanger. There was I can't even remember what the first Kanger squonk was, just, but
the leaky box.
Right. Yeah. So I was like, I don't know, man, this isn't working. So the idea for that was to just, get something out there that nobody I filled a hole that nobody was doing at the time. And then, the funny thing is, before that, I had gone to several companies, big companies, Aspire being one of them, who did start to work on some designs with me, and then went, we had a meeting. We just don't think this squonk thing is what people want right now. They're buying boxes.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, fine. I'll take it to Vandy Vape. That's cool.
Yeah. Big mistake.
I did.
Yeah. That pretty much, because I bought a few of the high-end squonkers myself, and that was pretty much the one that I didn't have any problems buying. It was, I think at the time, $39.99. Yeah, $39.99. Yeah, and then you could buy it with the RDA with the Pulse 22 at the time. A couple places had it packaged, you could say.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, if you were to buy, let's just say you've done Anchor mods. Brian knows Anchor mods. They were not cheap, even those guys. And you start getting into the Italian mod makers. Yeah, I have mine somewhere around here somewhere. If
you're talking about Geppetto and SVA, I've got 3 or 4 Anchors.
Yeah,
great mods.
Yeah, great mods.
And I found him when I was in that first stage of getting into squonk, and I was like, oh man, and he was really helpful, man. He was like, man, this is what we do, and this and that. So learning squonking too, it was funny because the first one I got had this crappy plastic bottle in it that I was like, okay, this is no good. Okay, and also the stem that went down through the bottle. Yeah, I was like, these are all things that you shouldn't do. I don't understand why they're doing this.
Yeah.
And even Vanny Vape was like, well, can't we just put a stem in there? No. And I was like, especially if I'm doing it, because that's what I talk crap about.
Yeah.
You can't talk crap on your channel about something and then go, well, mine does that.
Oh, mine has a stem in it. Yeah. Guess what?
I decided they're good.
Yeah, and then what you end up having is all these YouTube reviewers telling you how to cut the stem out, and
I think that was more because, especially with the G-Box 200, it had a proprietary bottle,
right?
And so when you get into that realm, because with the G-Box, the bottle was sort of stiff, a harder plastic, and hey Amanda, and a lot of people like what do they call them, the dolphin bottles or something, whatever, the more rubbery silicone kind of
silicone bottles,
the squishier bottles, and they were all a little bit too high because the G-Box ironically had sort of a stem with kind of a plastic plug that kind of plugs the hole off, and so that was a mod that, God, who was it? I can't remember who showed the mod. It might have been Mike Vapes, or it might have been
Mike Dremeled it.
Yeah, and he cut it off to fit those other bottles. So yeah, that's you didn't have a lot of flexibility in it. But I mean, I didn't learn about squonking until maybe 4 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago. So that's probably about the time I got the G-Box.
Yeah, it's about when it started getting popular. Anyway, look, I was happy. I had people ask me like, "Oh, are you bummed that everybody's putting out a squonk now?" I was like, "Nope. I think it's great. That it was the exact reason why I wanted to do that." Now everybody, the pod thing is just.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I use them. They'll send them to me. I use them until they're dead, and then I throw them away. Or if I'm at a party and my friend's like, "Hey, that one's pretty cool," I'm like, "Here you go."
There you go. Oh yeah, I forgot. It is Canada Day. Happy Canada Day to all our Canadian members. Woo. I forgot it was Canadian Day.
I don't
Canadian
know Day.
Okay.
Hey. I could really use some poutine right now.
Oh yeah. Not to go off topic here, but I did find that there is some meaning behind quality poutine, because you can get poutine anywhere in Canada. You
See, when it's said this way,
I mean, you can get it with the sidewalk vendor dudes that throw it like in a tinfoil,
slap it together,
tinfoil container, and it's garbage. But you go to a good restaurant where they have
brown gravy.
Yeah, and they take care in what they're doing. Oh my god,
the squeaky cheese curds. The cheese curds have to squeak.
I could just go for some cheese curds.
But that is Canadian comfort food right there.
It is.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Poutine, man. It's French fries with brown gravy and cheese curds.
Okay. Now I know.
That's one version of poutine, but
and they make it multiple different ways with different. You can get different add-ons, and
I saw crab poutine.
Yeah, I mean they'll put anything on it. If you go to a fancy restaurant, I'm sure they probably got $200 caviar poutine.
No,
I'll pass.
I'll pass.
Gold leaf.
I don't think I want any fishy poutine.
No, me either.
No.
I don't know if I want any fish with gravy on it, brown gravy on it.
Well, there's that. Although, wait. There is a Chinese place here, or maybe it's a Thai place, and they have a fish that's the whole fish, and it's like crispy fried, and it does have a brown gravy on it, and it's pretty darn good.
Pretty good.
No,
it's not a hard and fast rule.
Yeah. So I guess, I mean, I don't know who's watching. I didn't look at the live feed, but it's kind of funny because we're talking about squonking now as though it's almost sort of like a commonplace in the vaping world. But there's still quite a few people who don't know what it is or what it means or what the application is. So if there's anyone watching, that may have the question. I haven't seen it pop up. Most of the people on there now are familiar with it. But squonking is effectively allowing you to have a dripper RDA on a mod, but the mod itself has a bottle inside of it. And and the bottle has like a feed that goes up through the 510 pin with a hole into a hole in the 510 pin on the RDA. And so rather than drip, which everybody gets tired of doing and complaining about, you squeeze the bottle and the bottle shoots juice up through the mod into the RDA. And so it's like dripping from the underside.
Right.
That is a very good explanation.
I think we had enough visuals there too.
Yeah.
That's why
the thing that he was talking about that Smile King is showing there.
Yeah.
Show him again, that little stem that's inside the bottle is what we're talking about.
I yanked that bottle out because there's a little stem that goes down.
And that would just go down inside the bottle. Normally a bottle just has a little tube in it.
Yeah.
Where'd that go?
Okay. I put all my squonk stuff away.
Yeah.
I have mine somewhere. I don't know why. Oh, wait, I got it right in front of me.
Oh. Well, I can't really show it on the top side because that's completely different.
Swifty, that thing is insane.
All right, so I'm going to be a sellout.
Good Lord, man.
I'm not even trying. It's the device.
It's okay. I really like, dude. Dot mod stuff has been very solid. So.
Yeah. So yeah, it would seem that more and more companies are coming out with some like Wismec. I have the Wismec, the D80 or whatever they call it, or the D whatever. They have a little small squonk, kind of in the Jabo style, it's like the tri battery shape, but a dual battery. But everybody's kind of coming out with one.
Oh, there right after the Pulse, it was just a flurry. Kangaroo-Tech, everybody.
I liked it. I was like, see, I told you. You know, it's one of those things. I don't take credit for a movement of it or anything like that. All I want to say is I told you, dang it. You know what I mean? It's like I knew it and I told them and they didn't want to hear me. And when we put one out, I was like, haha. The first Pulse, I want to say it sold probably around 200,000 units.
Wow.
That first one.
That first one.
$40. It's kind of sure, why not?
You kind of think about when it came out, the RTA kind of was just getting developed. It still wasn't what it is today because you were still getting a lot of people getting dry hits. They were still having issues with wicking. So actually having something that had 5-6 mils of juice in it that you didn't have to carry a bottle with was such a great selling point at that time. Especially, like I said, because the RTAs back then were just horrendous.
Yeah, they were
horrendous. They were
horrendous. I think the Griffin might have been.
That's mine. Yeah, that's the one I loved. That's the one I loved. I still love that.
You were the only one.
I was the only one because I knew how to wick it. I know how to wick it.
Yeah,
I liked it because there was nothing else.
Yes, there was nothing else.
Wasn't the K Fun the original K Fun in RTA?
Yeah,
I never had a K Fun. I never
Same here.
Still to this day.
Same.
I had nothing but problems with mine because they had the stupid little airflow grub screw on the side, and that thing was like a shaving cut. You know, you get one of those bastards, and it just bleeds for hours, and you can never get it to stop, and it would just leak out that airflow hole all the time.
I recently remembered what a shaving cut looked like. It sucks.
Yeah, there wasn't very many of them out there, and a lot of them at that time, I think they started to switch a little bit. The decks started getting a little bit more trickier. I think they started to go with the velocity style decks. Things started getting a little bit better, but you know, it still came down to wicking. They still leaked like crazy. Whether it was from bad wicking or just bad O-rings, you could never set them down. if you laid it on its side, forget it. Yeah, forget it.
And if you left it sitting for more than a day without
no. Yeah, iJoy had theirs. I mean, they had the one that had the Typhoon style deck. Remember that one? And the wicks were like, I'm over exaggerating, but the wicks were like 3 inches long, right all the way down to the bottom there.
Yeah, I was never a fan of the Griffin tank. I actually really liked that Eagle tank that they came out with, though.
That was good, huh?
The one with the replaceable little decks that you could put in.
Yeah, that was a good.
You know what? With those, I would just rewick them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Except for I had a big leaking issue though, so you just had to do it right. They didn't work just fine.
Yeah, I mean that's what was so great about the Pulse when it came out and being so affordable. It just gave people an option to not have to carry their bottle. Well, we didn't have little bottle. Well, we did have little bottles back then, but you didn't have to carry a bottle around because you had that squonking bottle in there. You had 5 to 6 mils of juice. Then things got a little crazy. Then all of a sudden,
I never thought that you needed a dual battery squonk. Okay,
No.
Here's the thing. The whole idea to me behind the squonk, I mean, I did the dual kind of reluctantly because I was like, it's just people want it.
Yeah.
So why not give it to them? And I did talk with Jabo about it, and he's like, "Why? Just use that design, dude. It's a good design for 2 batteries in a bottle." And I was like, I don't know. But to me, a squonk is meant to be something very small as possible, that I carry in my pocket, that has a lot of juice, that I don't have to carry a bottle with me, and it's just about convenience. And to me, a dual battery mod of any type is really to sit on my coffee table because I need portability. Yeah. I don't know, man. Look, let me just point this out. This is my wallet, okay? That's what I use for a wallet, a fishing license holder, okay? So just to give you the idea, I don't like to carry a lot of crap around with me. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I've been digging these days.
Yeah. That's why I love those.
See, I was one of those. I was one of those people that I did like the dual battery ones, and here's why. It's not because of the vapor production, but I used to travel a lot, and so I would actually take a smaller RDA on there, like a Hadley or something like that, and run it at like 30 watts, and I would get it for a day and a half, versus having to bring batteries with me, and I could just, use that for the entire time. That worked freaking awesome.
You remember this one, Tony?
Yeah, I hated it.
Yeah.
I wanted to like it.
Me too.
I wanted to like it, and because I'd seen it at a show, but I didn't see it working.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, it was
we had thought about something like that, putting the bottle between the batteries, but that wasn't a great idea either. But that is why
leaking.
I did this. With Watofo. See, my original idea for a dual battery squonk was very simple. I took I want to say it was like a E-Leaf mod or something like that. It was a dual battery mod, just a straight up dual battery mod.
Yeah.
But it had the board on the face. I sat that down. I had a meeting with Leon from Watofo. I sat it down on the table, and I sat down a bottle next to it. I said, "That's your mod." And he's like, do we need dual battery squonks? I said, I don't really, for me, no, but if we could do it so it's small, then yeah. And so they went to work on it. It took 2.5 years, I want to say, for them to finally come up with, with me, to come up with something that we both agreed on. And then they had some internal mix-ups, or some stuff was going on internally, so they put it off. And they finally put it out, but they put it out as a limited release. So really, the only places I know that you can get it is their website, and sometimes Vapor DNA has them.
Oh, wow.
But, they sell probably about 500 of them a month.
Oh, wow.
But it's a great mod.
I know that mod. I can't think of the name of it right now.
This is the Dyadic.
Dyadic, yeah.
Yeah, I came up with that name because it sounded cool. And it means of two, or duality. And I was like, oh, well, that's perfect. Truth is, I looked it up on a thesaurus. And I went, that's a great name.
Other words for two.
It sounds fancy.
It was dual.
It sounds fancy and makes you look smart.
I was like, let's get the thesaurus out here. What's another word for dual?
What's another?
And plus Dyadic sounded, my background is metal. I'm a metalhead from way back, so kind of sounded like Dyadic, dude.
Yeah, Dyadic. Now playing Dyadic.
So the thing we can thank you for, Tony, though, is that you didn't put it in a font that we can't read.
Yeah. Right.
Where it looks like barbed wire and freaking.
Yeah.
thorns.
I was like, just keep it simple. If you look at it, it's almost it looks like a metal band.
Yeah.
Dyadic.
Dyadic. You need that.
That seems to be the route that most dual battery squonks take on, is sort of a diamond shape.
Yeah.
And it is still diamond. And what we did is we took the battery. Let's see here. So batteries are still side by side, but we just pushed one back a little bit so that we could squeeze it in, because it was still pretty wide. I mean, you've seen that the DS Designs double battery. Yeah, so that's wider than this. So I was like, well, okay, we'll squeeze it in a little bit. So it's still a bit of a diamond. Yeah, it's not the full on.
Just slightly offset.
Yeah, I think it ends up having to be, because to me, I don't know. I mean, I'm not being picky here, but I think when it comes to squonking, because I know is the Ohmboy mod a dual battery?
Not available anymore.
Yeah,
that was the one.
Yeah, that is a dual battery.
Okay,
yeah.
So
we did put the fill hole on the side of the bottle.
On the side of the bottle. Nice.
So you go like that.
And you fill it.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you can, without having to take the bottle out.
Nope.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Ingenuity.
Yeah.
You guys want to see something?
Ohmboys was.
This is a
Dynasty.
That is a prototype for the Pulse Dual, and you can see how this stuff is that I get it.
Oh, wow.
Like pen marks on there. This stuff is exposed. It's like, all right, there's your prototype. 3D print it, send it out to me. We changed it a little bit since this prototype, but
nice.
That's something you don't see every day.
No,
right? I don't know.
But I think when it comes to squonking, because it is I mean, you see a lot of people, when they do vape mod reviews, the one thing that always seems to come up is people talking about where the button is in a fire position. Is it in a comfortable position for the way you like to hold your mod?
It is.
So ergonomics becomes a part of it. And I think that that's a big factor in the squonk world, is that because it is an action with a finger, you put that squonk bottle in an odd spot, like that one mod that John was showing, the one that was all leaky, the red and black one. Like that just didn't seem practical to me. I mean, it did like on the back of the mod in the middle with the fire button.
Proprietary bottle, so you can't replace it, and it leaked.
It leaked. Yeah.
Yeah, leaking in there, bueno.
Thank you, Pizza Dave. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's still, that's a good thing to know. Dyadic bottles fit the SQ217. I don't have the SQ217, so.
Yeah.
You might be able to buy those bottles, Pizza Dave, if you just inquire on Watofo's website, because they're still manufacturing the mod. So,
good to know. Yeah. Brian, do you have a question for Tony?
I have a few of them.
All right, go.
Well,
I didn't do it.
Right. Well, maybe. One question is when I met you down, I think it was in Atlanta. I think it was.
Okay.
At Showcase, and you said something to me that still rings in my ear a bit, and it's more that all of your say questions and responses and all that stuff via your YouTube and all that stuff, you do all that stuff yourself. You do it.
I do
on your own time, and you keep on doing it. And what's the thing that drives the passion to keep with everybody, to keep talking to, keep helping people? What's the drive for that?
Well, there's a couple of things that are involved in that. One, it can wear on you, man, because not everybody is positive.
Yeah.
I had to and while I worked in radio for 16 years, I thought I had a pretty thick skin. I had to definitely thicken it up doing a YouTube channel. Comments, everybody can comment what they want. I don't edit the comments. I don't, the only thing I do have is I have the curse words filtered out. My channel has purposefully always been as clean as possible, and there's two reasons for that. One, my mother was the one that got me my first vape. She wanted me to vape. She was quitting smoking, using them. She had also signed my smoking pass when I was in high school, so she wanted to undo that.
I remember those days.
I grew up in San Diego, so I wanted to keep that channel clean, and so I don't curse. The only time I ever said a curse word was during the Vupu video. In real life, I curse like a sailor. I'm normal. I'm a regular dude, but I just figured I wanted a channel that my mother could watch and the dude down the street and get the same thing out of it. So for that reason, I have filters on there to filter. If you want to say the C word, go ahead. It's not going to show up.
It's not going to show
up. And people have been, there's people will say really, really mean things. It's like literally somebody went on another reviewer's page and was saying that he had hired, because I have a photo, video, and voiceover company. I've had it for many years. That he had hired my company and that I had taken the money and I never showed up. And I was like, dude, I looked at where you're at. You're in Alabama. I'm in North Carolina. I don't do work out of North. But the fact that I am helping people, and I have so many people that will tell me, dude, if it weren't for you, I probably wouldn't have done it. I bought my first vape. You helped me to learn how to use it. All of that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps driving me. Also, I figure if somebody is going to take the time to watch my channel and make a comment, I'm going to make every effort to at least respond to them. Yeah. I don't as much as I used to. Brian, when we talked back then, it was maybe 2 years ago. I would go back every single day and go through those comments, but it got to the point where I couldn't do it. So I couldn't physically do it. There's too many. Yeah. So I basically, when a video goes up for the first day, maybe two, I'll go in there and answer, respond to the comments. If somebody actually asks me a viable question and isn't just, being a jerk off or just saying hi, then I'll answer. And sometimes they'll say, just email me, and then take it off of there and help them. Yeah. But it's, it's getting harder, man, because the products that we're getting is just, okay, well, this again.
Yeah. Another pod.
Oh, look, another pod system.
Yeah. I'll tell you about it. Yeah. There are clearly there must be people buying these, so maybe they still need that information. But for me, I'm freaking bored. So when I get something like the Haster mod that I did today, or
I saw that.
Something that's a little different, I get like, oh, fun.
Yeah, that's a beautiful mod from them. Cholula.
And I've always tried to continue to share my own personal stuff that I like. I still squonk, but I've been using AIOs a lot. I mean, this is just a beautiful, beautiful billet box here. I mean, it's the panels are done. Oh, I've got Cerakoted screws in here. I've taken some time on this mod, so
to personalize it. Yeah.
Even that tip. This is a mission tip. It's Teflon. It has an integrated thing, so I can, instead of having the nut in there, so easy. I still get excited about stuff. Is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
But it's Brian, it's about just helping people, really, in the end. When I get those comments when somebody is like, dude, you have been so helpful to me. I have discovered at least 5 new things because of you, and you helped me learn how to do this or whatever. That's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It helps because even like your channel in the beginning, when I started watching it, one of the things that drew me to your channel was the fact that it was mixed. It was your pods, it was MTLs, it was cloud stuff to where some of the channels kind of focused on one product, whether it was, Clouds Bro Clouds at the time, and devices that were designed around that, and that's all you saw on their channels. But it seemed like on your channel and Phil's, it was Phil kind of stayed away from the Clouds Bro Cloud stuff. But your channel had he did he every now and then he would get something over 90 watts on there, but most of the time it was mouth to lung stuff. Maybe a little bit restrictive lung stuff, but your channel was a mix of everything. It was
When it comes to P. Basardo, man, he is one of the nicest cats
the nicest
I've ever hung with. Man.
You are too. Everybody says it every time you go to the shows. It's like oh no, Tony's over there. He's the nicest guy in vaping, and it's the truth, dude. It's the truth. Well, you are the nicest guy in vaping.
My goal is to, I don't want to put on a front on my channel. What you see is what you get. That's just me. Well, and if you look at my other channel, the Picky Eater channel, you'll see you're like, yeah, that's him, but even goofier. Yeah. My other channel is I'm in my 50s. I just turned over 50. We'll say that.
There's two of us here.
Right. I just turned 52. So
me too.
Yeah.
All three of us just turned 52.
And I eat like a 3-year-old. So I started my other channel because I had people that were like, you need to make a channel about that, and well, one of the things that really freaks people out with my picky eaterness is when it comes to pizza, I can't eat pizza with people because I eat pizza in a certain way. I don't like sauce. So I will literally take the cheese, pull it back, wipe the sauce off with my finger. And my fingers, it can't be a fork because people are like, why don't you use a fork? I'm like, because the finger is more like a squeegee. It gets it off of there, man. And then I lay that cheese back down and the sauce gets rubbed all around the edge of the plate. My wife is like, that's embarrassing and I will not eat pizza in public with you. So that was the first video I think that we did on that channel. But, I'm just me.
See, I'm actually I will actually go and eat pizza with you. I have no problems with that at all. Just saying.
Okay, good.
I'd eat pizza with you.
I do like pineapple on my pizza.
Oh, yeah.
I know that's very controversial.
So does the no sauce rule apply to any kind of sauce or just red sauce? Tomato sauce.
It's red sauce. I don't like the red sauce, man. But here's the thing. People on that video commented and said, well, why don't you just get no sauce? Like, because then it's cheese bread. Yeah. I like the flavor of the sauce. I just can't, I can't gush into it. That, onions, peppers, mushrooms, can't do it.
Same here.
Can't do it.
I put the link to your Picky Eaters channel in the comments, so if anybody wants to go check that out.
I remember when we talked, you were telling me you were just going to be starting up that channel and stuff. So
yeah.
So you said don't say anything, so I never did.
I'm pretty sure you can say something about it now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I want to get into the YouTube channel thing. Like I asked Daniel and I asked Brian, but go through the process, your process of reviewing a product, how you step by step, editing the video, all that stuff before you even put it in there. What's your process?
First comes discovery. I mean, you got to find the products, right? Yeah. I mean, some of it comes right to you because these guys are relentless with emails and comments and Facebook messages and stuff. Some of it comes right to you. But, the stuff that doesn't come right to me, I have to find, like the vape snail. I wouldn't have known about that thing. And I absolutely love the vape snail. Anyways, so first is discovery. Then from discovery, sometimes it's hard to manage the crap that comes in. There was a time, it's not like this anymore, but there was a time that so much stuff was coming in. My wife was getting really angry. She was like, dude, you got to do something with this stuff. There's DHL boxes everywhere. There's UPS and all that. But yeah, the product will come in and then I have to organize all that crap. I'm going way back into it, but I have to organize all that crap and I keep them in cabinets. I have a cabinet for the stuff I have not reviewed yet, and I have a cabinet for stuff that I've reviewed and had extras. And I give this stuff away. I keep it in my truck, and when I see somebody at a post office and I'm talking to them and I smell cigarettes and I'm like, you smoke? Like, yeah. I'm like, you want to not smoke? So that kind of thing. And then the day of a video, I've already used the product for a couple of days. Sometimes I forgot how to use the early menus in it, because I'm a wattage guy. So like the first day I get it, manual, figure it out, right? That kind of thing. Yeah. And then, review day, I have to sit down and refresh my memory. So I'll get the manual out, make sure I remember everything. And then filming, I film the up close stuff usually first, and then I film the on camera stuff. I like to do that because I kind of feel like the review is really in that up close stuff, that meat. because that's where I'm really showing you the parts. I'm like, yeah, this part right here, I don't like that. If they had done this, that kind of thing, that's really the meat. So I like to film that first, and then I'll go back and I will film the on-camera stuff. Then editing can take probably 2.5, 3 hours. It's because I don't know, man. I'll edit it and then I'll watch it.
Yeah.
No, this needs to come out of there. I don't need to keep repeating myself, because one of the things with my channel is when I watched other channels, I didn't take anything from those channels. I remembered the things I didn't like.
Yeah.
I told Phil this when the first time I met him. I go, I want you to know you were one of the inspirations for me starting my channel. He's like, oh, that's great. I go, yeah, he might not like the reason why. He said, why? And I said, because I had a VV Nova Mini and I just wanted to figure out how to clean it and put a new coil in it. And your video was 45 minutes. And as a former program director in radio, all I could think of the whole time is like, get to the point, man. When I was a program director, I used to have to air check the DJs that were on the station. So I'd sit down with them each week and listen to their show basically on tape. Every time they turn the microphone on, it starts the cassette recording. So it just made me think about that air check session going, Phil, come on. 5 minutes is all I needed of that video.
I just want to know to clean it.
So I wanted to make my videos short, and I wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything that was offensive language. Like, I didn't need to be like, this MFer right here is the best MFer. I just didn't feel like, and that wasn't me. So I didn't feel like I needed to come in there and be like, sick as tits, man.
Yeah. Hits like a truck full of dildos.
I just felt like I would look pretty stupid if I was doing that. And I'll tell you, there's other YouTubers that even have asked me, hey, do you have any advice after I watched a couple of videos? I'm like, yeah, try not to be, or don't try to be that
character.
Don't try to be that channel.
Yeah.
Because that's not you.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So I am totally sure that I veered way off of the topic.
No, you're still on it. Yeah, you're still on it. So the whole process together takes you how long?
Man, if you want to put it all together, at least a couple days. But the day of shooting, probably about an hour and a half of shooting, probably about 2 hours of editing, then uploading, doing all of your description and all of that stuff. Then you got to do a thumbnail. Depending on what product it is, it could be 8 hours.
Yeah.
If it's something simple, a pod, I'm like, yes, 2 hours.
Yeah. 2 hours. Here it is. Woo! Yeah. Goodbye. Now, one thing that you said while you were talking about the process is when you're doing the video and you're doing the up close and you see things on there that you could do better. How hard is that for you not to want to say, wish it were this way?
I just do it. I just do it. I just go, look, because here's the deal. This company wants me to give them an honest review, right? If I just, but I'm nice about it, and I've had people say, well, you like every product. I'm like, not really. If you listen to what I'm saying, I'm like, and here's the other thing. I don't want to knock a product just because I think I don't like it. You may love this product.
You may love it.
But I'll go, look, if it had a bigger battery, like for example, this thing right here, okay? I said, okay, well, for the size of this thing, you would think the battery's going to be bigger. It's only 550 milliamp hours.
That's small for something that big. I mean, even the Nord, I think, has a larger battery, like at least 750.
Yeah.
This is 1,000 milliamp hours right here.
Yeah.
Okay? 350.
Yeah. That's insane.
So I said it. I was like, I had one the other day that was smaller and lighter, and it was 300. I mean, it was 1,000. However, this one does look better. So yeah, it's trade-offs. It's like, what do you think is more important? That kind of thing. So
yeah, I mean, not to offend the company, but just like you're giving them ideas. You know what I mean? Do you sometimes feel like I'm sharing a free idea with these?
Yeah, sometimes I'm thinking that. I'm like, do I really want to help them make this?
That's because I could use.
I've had companies, listen, there are so many companies that have come to me. I've had companies that have come to me that are like, hey, could you just beta test this for me? I'm like, yeah, $500.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll beta test it because you want my advice, don't you?
Yeah.
I'll beta test it.
You don't just want to hear, it's good.
I mean, I'll tell you what's wrong with it. You might not like it, and you're also going to pay me $500. And I've also, the other thing is, it's funny because I've had a bunch of products, but what people don't realize is that I've probably turned down a good 15, maybe 20 products from companies that just contact me and go, "This is already done. Would you like to collaborate?" I'm like, "Well, how am I going to collaborate if it's done?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's no thanks.
No.
I mean,
they want to slap your name on it to sell it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. It's money, and I have a little bit of money. I'd like to have more.
Yeah.
But not that way.
They just wanted to put inspected by Tony B on the box.
Yeah, well, I want to do that. I'll set up a fee structure for that, and we'll work it out.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm like anybody else. I need to make money, and people think, oh, you sold all these Pulse products, you made a lot of money. I'm like, yes and no. I mean, it's not like I'm a millionaire. Okay.
Yeah. Brian gets a lot of that shit on Sunday show with the other guys, with the drop. They always make fun of him. Oh, you got drop money. You got drop money.
Well, he does. I mean, they sold like 3 billion of the damn thing.
Well, the other thing is Dumpo actually does pay pretty good. You know? But I think that model for them doesn't hold up as well for, you know what I mean? Because, another company might say, oh, geez, well, you give them $3 or $4 a mod. Maybe we should try that, but no, other companies, whatever. But it's just funny because people think you make a lot more than you do. I'll just say that.
It'd be probably easier if you you ever gotten pants and you reach in the pocket and you got this little sign sticker that says inspected by number whatever.
Yeah,
do something like that. Still have them pay you $500, but put a little tag in there in the box somewhere.
I'm in.
Put your name on it.
I gotta make money like anybody else, right?
Yeah.
Inspected by Tony B.
No, not just. We'll give you a number.
Just a number.
To inspect it, okay, but I don't know, man. It's a really tricky deal. It's like you want to make a good product, you want to make money, and some companies will just throw money at you, and you're like, no, that sounds bad.
Yeah, with the current state situation now, the way things are, it's just it's hard. It's harder for these companies nobody knows what's going to happen. No one has a clue what's going to happen.
Well, that's one of the things that I'm really bummed about with the Pulse 2 is that this mod was supposed to be out right after Chinese New Year. So that would have been, end of January, mid-February latest. And we were ready to go. They had all the raw materials. They were ready to produce them. And then the coronavirus hit.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then, of course, we had problems with the app because the server for the app for the Swell were in Shenzhen. And Shenzhen was closed, man. You couldn't get in or out of there. I was like, sorry, dude, the app's not working. Don't update your mod with the app right now because it might brick it.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But, I don't know. It's difficult. I want to do good. I want to do good for my family, but I won't.
And you have your own business. That's what people need to realize. You're running your own business as well.
I know where I was going. So yeah, with this mod, I'm like, it's like we would have had more time to sell it. I don't know what's going to happen in September.
Mm-hmm.
I plan to do the introduction video for this next week. And it should ship mid-July or end of July. Okay, so there's going to be pre-orders available. I freaking hate that. I did not want to do that this time.
You're not a guy. You don't like pre-orders. I remember you always talk to
And they, every one of the mod releases has been that way. And this time I said, not this time. And they agreed before coronavirus. They said, okay. When you do your announcement video, it will be shipping to distros that day. But now that can't happen because they are still gearing up. So it is what it is. I just hope that it has time to be on the market before, before the FDA says, sorry, can't import that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what New York's trying to do. I think it's New York trying to ban importing or the U.S. No, sorry, is trying to ban the mailing part.
Yep.
Good luck.
They're trying to ban vape mail of any kind.
It's pretty disheartening, isn't it? I mean,
That's why
you make a little gain. You think you have a little crack, and then it's just screw it. We're going to do something else to you now.
Yeah.
To the people watching and that are going to watch the replay later, there's a link scrolling at the bottom of this.
Yes.
Join that site.
Mm-hmm.
It's free. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You will get updates anytime. You're going to think, well, geez, I am Grim Green. I know what's going on. Yeah, they send you information anytime that there's a call to action, anytime that there's any important news to know. And every one of my videos, I've got links down at the bottom of the description. I feel like I'm doing a video now. Links down at the bottom of the description. I got my spiel at the end of the video down pretty good. I feel like I'm in the home stretch when I'm filming, and I'm like, Well, thank you so much for your support. There's a link.
Click that link down there.
Also, if you join, you'll actually know before Grim Green tells you on there.
That's correct. That is correct.
Story.
You will know the same day he knows.
Yep.
But I do want to say, look, I know Nick pretty well. He is a really good human being, and he means so well with what he's doing. He's fighting, and he really believes, and I love that about him. He's a fantastic person to have on our side, and as our Matt from Suck My Mod,
Matt,
Bill and Dimitri, for me, I'm not that person. I'm not. I've never been somebody who's politically active, so it's difficult for me. So
okay, this is going to get technical here. We have two Tonys, so it's Tony B and Tony M. I think you guys know each other.
Well, first, I just want to say I'm really sorry for being really late here. I went way over on a call, so
no problem.
It's quite all right. I'm usually the guy that's late, so don't worry.
Brian's usually late. I think you two know each other, right, Tony? You guys two know each other?
Yeah. How you doing, Tony?
I'm doing good, Tony. How you doing, man?
All right, Tony. I'm doing good.
Who wants to be called Anthony right now? Who wants to be called Anthony?
Well, my legal name is actually Antonio, so if we want, we can go with Antonio.
I would say you could call me TB, but as my grade school teacher pointed out to me one time when I put my initials down, that also stands for tuberculosis.
Right. And that's what killed Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
Let's not go there.
Great movie, by the way.
TB is pretty bad for, especially back then. Yeah, you don't want that. like COVID. 28.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Well, we found out that three of us just turned 52 this year. So I think I'm before you, Tony B. I'm June 3rd.
I'm June 4th.
Yeah.
June 17th.
Yeah, 17th, and Tim's
June's.
I bring up the tail end of all that on the 27th.
On June?
Yeah.
What?
So we all know that our parents
all four of us are June babies.
Our parents were busy.
Back in January. No, actually 3 months before that. Right around Thanksgiving, they were like,
Yeah, right after that Thanksgiving meal, my dad said, let's put a baby in you.
No, mine was like, I'm going to bed.
I'm not saying what I'm thinking that's Thanksgiving related. Just no.
Stuff a turkey?
No. I'm not going there, John.
Tony, what is new?
I was going to ask Antonio, how's everything going at Zamplebox?
Good. It's been quite the journey, that's for sure. The last I don't know if you're aware of this, but so let me just take a step back. So things have been pretty crazy within vape, really starting around 2016 is when it started to get real crazy. And it got, it seemed like we had a little bit of a calm there, where things were starting to settle in. And then, boy, with Juul and the response to underage vaping, as it would be in the media, at least, that really ratcheted up big time Q4 last year, going into the fall, as everybody knows. And that was a really big challenge for us as a company. I mean, that put a lot of strain on us, and we had a little incident as well with New York. That was a little unfortunate. We had a technical error there, which resulted in some not such great. We got sued by the city of New York, which was not good. So there was a lot that I had a very intense October, to say the least. There was a lot that we were dealing with through that period of time. And through all of that, we ended up moving the company fully distributed. So it's been a pretty big change. I then went to South America for like 6 months and was there all throughout like November to April. And yeah, our team is now like completely distributed. So we're on 4 continents. Cool. Pretty cool. And nice. Yeah, it's actually been going pretty well. And then all of a sudden COVID happens.
Yeah.
So
just messed everything up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's been tough because I think speaking as just one individual, it's been really tough going from being able to be really direct about the mission of helping people become and stay tobacco free to then being gagged in saying that in 2016, where we weren't able to say that. And then to see just the flood of how many companies basically like broke the law en masse. And then for us to kind of come around full circle to kind of join in doing that, honestly. And that's been really tough because it's kind of against the values. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a person who wants to break the law. So it's really unfortunate to be put into a position where it's like, okay, do what you were in, do the mission and be breaking the law, which really every single person, every single company is doing right now.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. It's tough. Like it's tough to. That's just a tough situation to be in.
It is.
I know. You got some good news from Australia. That was good news for a little bit here for 6 months.
Yeah, and definitely on another note too. I mean, things have been going really well. We've launched some really cool stuff with the box. Like, there's some cool things that we have happened there. We've done. I don't know if I told you this, John, but on our last live stream, you guys mentioned rolling out like birthday integration. We just launched all of that. So now actually members are going to get really cool birthday gifts. It's surprise and unique to everybody. So that's pretty sweet. Yeah, we've got some cool. We actually are doing some cool. No one knows about this yet, but we're doing some really cool custom COVID net gaiters on them, and we're gonna give everyone them for free with the box in
that's cool.
For 6 and 12 members. I think like July 15th. So we got some cool stuff coming. We've launched the Nick Salt boxes finally.
Finally, yeah.
2.5 years
saw
late.
that. We actually got some pictures posted on the family page of a couple of salt boxes. I think
Chris had one.
Yeah, Chris had posted his, so that's
and
good.
Danielle.
And Danielle. Yeah.
And 12 bottles now.
Yeah.
There you go.
No empty slot.
That's now I dropped one.
Yeah. Well,
that's on me.
So yeah, and then we're working on disposables right now, but that's a whole nother. I was wanting to talk with everyone about that today.
Yeah.
So yeah. Situations where like you actively have to do something where it's probably a loophole that gets plugged, but then what is that going to do? And
yeah. Well, everything does seem to cascade. You know what I mean? It's like if one thing. Okay, well, you say I can't do this, then what about this? What about, can I sell a bottle of 0 milligram as my only PMTA registered product, and then I sell the flavoring separately? Can I do that? Well, probably not, but we're going to see people do it.
Exactly.
We're going to try.
Yeah, Tony, that's exactly the situation, and it's odd because it surprises me truly the amount of people that are just doing it.
Yeah.
I think what we're going to see is the FDA is going to first go after pod systems and probably disposables. That's the reason why that's a tricky deal.
Yeah.
Right now
we're late on that one.
Yeah. Well, on your end, Tony B, I mean, are you seeing the belt tightening with YouTube as far as what your content you're putting out? Are you having to change certain things Oh, you're not allowed to put links anymore, correct?
No, we're not allowed to do that, which sucks because, that was a source of income if I had an affiliate link, which, an affiliate link to say Element Vape or Vapor DNA. It's directing somebody to a place where they can buy a tobacco product, but I just didn't think that was all that bad. And, it may be an affiliate link that might be a 5% on every sale that was income for my family. And it's, it's up to the person to decide whether they want to buy something. I don't think that's bad.
Yeah. Not everybody's going to always click that link anyway. So But has there been
to the website?
Yeah. Has there been any other changes?
Less product coming in, but that's maybe because of COVID, because as COVID has subsided in China, these guys and a lot of like new upstarts that I'm like, I've never heard of you. Okay, sure, I'll take a look at that. Send it to me, and if it's any good, I'll put it on, I guess. But there was a point where I didn't have any new product, so I was like, well, what am I buying right now? I've been buying some panels for my billet box. I'll do a video on that. There was about a month where I had one video a week. Where I used to have 5 or 6. And to be honest with you, during that COVID time, I got time to work on some stuff that I wanted to work on. I got some honeydews done around here. My wife is very pleased with that. I cleaned up my studio. I was able to donate a giant box of stuff to people. I was like, hey, I had a big cookout and said, anybody that wants something, grab it.
Tony, it's really interesting how it was really, I would say, inspiring how optimistic people were and still are with the situation and use that downtime like across the board actually to be like, okay, well, this is an opportunity to be more introspective and to, take care of some things that, it's kind of like a mass vacation, for a lot of people. And I think from that standpoint, positive, but obviously, this is.
I was telling Tony earlier, I got a job offer to come take pictures at people's first communion, Holy Communion at the church. So they're like, put a mask on 6 feet away, and each time the kid comes up, take a picture, go to the next one. I was like, all right, I guess.
I was like, that's a great gig, dude. That's a good gig. I still have a photo, video, and voiceover business here. And, I worked in radio for 16 years. I wrote a lot of scripts for radio commercials. So writing a commercial was no big deal. So, I do a lot of local commercials and real estate videos. I'm not doing wedding videos anymore just because I don't want to. I did it for 3 years. That was enough. But it also gave me some time. I've been playing guitar since I was a kid. I was in metal bands when I was, back in the 80s and stuff. And I bought a really sweet guitar. It's a Fender Stratocaster. Fender Telecaster Acoustasonic. So it's an acoustic, electric, and it's freaking awesome, dude. But started playing that a lot more.
Are you doing any other content that's like not vape related as well? Or
well, I have another channel. I have the Picky Eater channel.
Yeah,
and I want to expand that channel because I've got a lot more dimension to me than just being a picky eater. So I've been doing other stuff on there, some guitar stuff. I've been writing music. So my nephew is a freaking-tastic musician and engineer. He's a graduate of engineer school. And so he's been helping me with the song that I've been writing. And we're probably, him and I, after we get done with the song, we're going to do some covers and put some of those up. I'm like, why not? Look, there's more to me than just vape or picky eaterness. I have put a couple of videos on the Vapor Trail channel that weren't vape stuff. I didn't really get any crap for it, but I'm seeing what's going on with Rip Trippers.
That was a shocker. That was a shocker.
It's pretty funny.
But, look,
pretty funny.
The guy just wanted out. He wanted to spend time with his family. I kind of understand. I've got to spend more time with my family and stuff, and I'm like, dang. So I've cut it down now to 3 videos a week. I'm not going to kill myself to make 5-6 videos a week. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, the thing is too. I mean, I wanted to hop in here and say that when John had asked you, Tony, about like what is going on specific of like what does YouTube's adjustments to their policies result in the channel.
Changes everything.
Zamplebox, like our channel got crushed.
Yeah.
Just absolutely destroyed. I mean, it's insane. Like it started last year where they started age restricting certain videos that were just going so big for us. Like grandmas that vape, like 5 million views, and they just age restricted it, bang, off. It's just done. Because people don't really the reason why they're so smart of using age restriction is because if you don't understand it, then if you don't understand it technically, then it's like, oh, well, that sounds reasonable.
That sounds right. You shouldn't watch this if you're under 18.
Yeah, it sounds reasonable. What they don't tell you is that by age restricting, you now are no longer promoted throughout the ecosystem. So
you're no longer listed. So unless somebody has a link, they basically will not see it.
Yeah, and not only that, but think about like when you're on, there's a lot of channels I love watching non-vape related as well. And if I'm on, my phone and I get an email like, oh, China Uncensored, I love watching them. Like China Uncensored just uploaded a video and I click on it on my phone and I'm not logged in.
Right.
Now I get I got to sign in and it's more effort. So you're just like,
yeah. I'll watch it later.
So it's been a really big deal. And
well, now what we have to do, and this, is we have to, because they have a step in there when you're uploading. People don't realize, they figure you just click a button. There you go. There's the video. Ooh. But there's a lot of steps that you have to take in uploading a video. And there's one in there now where they want you to rate your own video. And it's like, okay, well, what category do I fit in here? Is it drug-related content? Because technically they think it's a drug.
Yeah.
Is it educational? And depending on what you click, it's going to tell you whether you're, whether you're safe for ads, limited ads, or you can't have any ads. And it's funny because even if because my channel is definitely flagged, even if I say it's safe for ads, because if you have a regular channel, if you say publish as private, it'll spin and tell you that they're analyzing your video. Mine instantly goes to
even if you're like us, we've been at some point we were manually flagged as just this is a big red X. These guys are basically on the slowly suppress and push them out.
Yes.
And you can tell because our subscribers, that's where you can see it, because we very suspiciously have like never been able to get any more subscribers, and it just stays at like 145.
Right.
Like, and we lose subscribers, but then it just stays at just 145,000 subscribers. It's so
like they just said that's it.
Yeah, and I've Googled about it. I've like looked into it, and it's a real thing where people have actively logged them, basically unsubscribing people and enforcing like this cap on your subscribers. They just
that's why I tell people at the end of my videos, I'm like, and if you just take a look at the button, if it's gray, you're still subscribed. If it's red, you're not. I appreciate it. Click it again. It happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I get unsubscribed from some of my channels. I'm like, why am I unsubscribed from this channel I like to watch? It's about guitars.
Well, they shut Zamplebox's page down for a time, right, Tony?
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
And then they gave it back.
Yeah, it was like in January or December, it was. Yeah. Anyway, this year.
Yeah,
they just straight up took it down, and luckily the community came together and everyone was messaging, and it actually made a huge impact, and they put it back on.
Yeah.
And there was no reason. We never got a reason from them.
Yeah, because they did the same thing to Mark Fagan's channel.
Yeah,
and they just shut him. No explanation, no nothing. Just boom, gone.
There's been a couple of YouTube apocalypse moments that in the last year where, I started taking everything I had and putting it on a Vimeo channel as a backup channel. And I deleted probably about 100, 150 videos that I was like, okay, the amulet, the watch vape, gone. Jewel, gone. This pod, gone. Just because I was like, I know they're going to gig me for it. CBD videos.
That's the thing is the problem is, and I feel like a lot of people in the industry, whether you're making content or whatever it is, even for consumers, but probably not as much, is we're at this really weird phase where like you love it and you're putting up with their shit, whether it's YouTube, FDA, you're willing to do it, but it's pressing up against the level where you're just like, I just, like I have mouths to feed, or like I have hobbies I need to get out there, or whatever the reason is. Like, it's sad, but it shows you that it's so hard to resist when the system is really clear of shutting you down. I mean, they just have so much power.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It just comes to the point of like, where do I give up?
Right.
Yeah.
And I really want us to figure out a way to change that narrative. But I feel like in order to really successfully change that narrative, like you first kind of have to embrace the reality of the situation and like acknowledge the war you're fighting, so that it's not just like a slow defeat, where you just silently go away. I mean,
Well, what do you think is different? What do you think is different with Twitter? Why is Twitter not in the talks of vaping? I mean, you never see Twitter say, "Hey, you're not gonna do this on our page. You're not gonna post this stuff." Twitter kind of just stays out of it. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah, I love Twitter, and I have chosen to buy their stock, not a lot, but as just like, you got to vote with your dollars, because my opinion with Twitter is they're not as their business is actually like pretty small, because they don't have a big advertising culture. Whereas you think about Google, like, I mean, this is getting technical, but like Google or Twitter's market cap is like 26 billion or something, whereas Google is like a trillion. Yeah. So like Twitter, is just not like, Google's like, we don't really care, about this little tiny sliver of income on vape videos. Like, let's just get this out of here so we can sell video, ads on like, 50 million view videos about stupid stuff like that. Like, that's how they think. I believe.
I agree.
Well, each social media area has their own niche. Like, I'm not a big Twitter person. I just never have. I like to. When I grew up, I didn't read a whole lot of books. Like, I hated reading books. I liked videos. I liked watching stuff, things that actually like interact with you. So Twitter wasn't really my thing. Twitter is more of like really short characters, really, this, that, whatever, really quick, versus like Facebook or YouTube, where you can actually have that more of that interaction with people. And I think right there is a big dynamic of everything.
Yeah.
I've gotten to where I don't want to get on any of them. I'm so tired of people that I've known forever just going off on somebody that you've also known forever, and I'm like, I stay out of this stuff, but please, guys, come on, you guys know each other. What's your deal? Why do you hate each other right now?
That's why you're the nicest guy in vaping.
I'm just so tired of it, though. I can't take it. I'm like, wear your mask. Don't wear your mask. You guys are fools. Whatever, man. For me, I live in a tourist area. I live on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. It's a very small band of islands, basically, that goes on the outside of North Carolina from Virginia down to South Carolina. We, our year-round population is not very big. So what they did here is they shut the bridges down because it's all islands. You would have to go over one or the other bridge to get here. They shut the bridges down to all non-residents. That includes non-resident property owners, which upset a lot of people because they're like, well, I own a vacation house there. I should be able to come there. I'm like, yeah, from where? New York? It's a hot spot? No, please, stay there.
Stay there.
Isn't everybody on like a stay-at-home order right now? Why do you want to come here? Well, we stayed closed for 3 weeks to a month. But now that they opened up the bridges. We'll just put it this way. For 2 weeks before they opened the bridges, we had no new cases. And this place is so small that we have one hospital with 20 beds and 4 ventilators. It's not a lot.
Nope.
Okay, so it's kind of like that's just enough for us if we need it, and maybe not. We might even have to be shipped out. So now all these people are coming in. Well, now we're having 18 new cases today and all that. And I'm like, man, look, one of the reasons is because when the people are on vacation, they feel like Well, I'm trying to get away from that. I was up in Delaware where I had to wear a mask everywhere. I'm not wearing a damn mask here. And I'm like, bro, look, if you don't, then it's like worthless for me to wear one. Should I just have to sequester in my house the whole summer so you guys can enjoy your vacation? Just please wear the freaking mask. All right.
Yeah.
I think the best illustration that I saw for it though is the one where it's like two naked people, guys peeing on them. It's getting them wet. The next one down, naked person, guy's wearing pants. He's peeing on him. His pants are getting wet. The next one, they're both wearing pants. He's peeing. It's not getting on this guy at all.
That's so funny. That's so funny because I saw the one that was like not about them peeing, but it's about like the coughing.
Where the wiener's hanging over.
So funny that someone took that and made it about peeing. That's great.
So I was just like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I couldn't really understand the mask one, but now that you're talking about guys peeing on each other, it totally makes sense. Now
makes sense. As soon as I saw that, I was like, ding. Okay. I don't know, man. Look,
so Tony,
that is one of the things that becomes so divisive though. You're like, and I don't know why that has to be along political lines, and the politics are just driving me crazy on social media. I'm like, I don't even want to. I don't care what your opinion is. I don't want to hear it anymore. Yeah. So I guess that means I should not go on. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Tony B, you were talking about. So explain to a guy from North Dakota. What are these things you have called islands?
Well, for one, Brian, there's a silent S in the word.
Yes. Well, it is a string of islands. Well, go look at my Instagram. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's pretty bad when the guy from Wisconsin knows what the hell an island is.
Oh man!
Of course, we have water here.
Have you not looked at a map before, Brian?
I have.
Well,
remember,
there's a state called Hawaii.
Remember, he doesn't like to read.
He don't look that far.
This is my problem here.
Well, there is that.
They don't have books or maps in North Dakota.
No, they don't do that there.
Just dinosaurs and flat land and rocks.
Right. And cows.
And oil. Don't forget the oil. They got oil. They got oil.
Cows.
And a lot of water that comes imported just for the oil, just to get it out of the ground.
Any other good news for Zamplebox, Tony, that you want to share with us?
Well, I mean, we're here, we're alive, you know. That's a pretty big deal, you know. It's like, especially in the midst of a global pandemic, like you kind of have to start from baseline zero. Like, I'm breathing. I'm here. We're alive.
There are a lot of companies that I did not. There are a lot of companies that I did not think would shut down that have. Pretty surprising, including the company that was my manufacturing partner for the Sugar Lips juice line.
Yeah.
I had no idea that it was coming to that. Kinetic was a fantastic lab, and they did perfectly great by me. I just didn't know that they were shutting down until after they did, and I was like, my third partner in that juice line has now taken manufacturing to California from Connecticut, and it's being manufactured by the same company that manufactures distilled e-liquids. You might remember Berry Crunch Time and Crunch Time that I vaped all the time in my videos. So what they do is they actually distill. Anybody that mixes, if they do DIY, knows that one of the things you want to do is you want to steep your juice by leaving the lid off for a little bit, right? That's because there's a lot of alcohol and other things that they put in the flavorings, because the flavorings are used for a lot of things, say baking and candy. And the alcohol is a good carrier for that. But it's not great for juice. Typically what we'll do is you'll just steep it for a long time. Typically even better if you can steep it without the lid off for a while. With the distilling process, you don't have to do that. It's ready to go right out the gate, and it's smoother. I always thought the juice was great, but it's even better now. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
When's that line coming out, or is it officially out now? Or
Blue Pucker is now available. It's on mojo.com, mojovapor.com, and they are now distributing it. We're not sure about the other two flavors. Dirty Grin did pretty good. and Tropical Smile didn't do great. The Tropical Smile, it's a pineapple. It is hard to do a good pineapple.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's sold, but it's we're looking at it. I told John earlier that I'm doing a lot more DIY. In fact, what I've been doing, because I like using salts in my .aios and my billet boxes and stuff, but I don't like super high nicotine. I've been DIYing my salts at 6 and 12 milligrams.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. But I've also been working on a few flavors. And you know what? If all we can do is sell them until September, maybe we'll put them out. Screw it, right? Yeah. I mean, get them out there, let people get a hold of them, and if you like them, stock up.
I mean, I really wonder what's going to happen when September rolls around.
Well, like I know that they're going to go. I know for a fact that they're going to immediately go after any flavored pod system. And while right now it looks like those disposables are the loophole, I don't think they're going to let that stand. I think once they really get in there and start doing this stuff, they're going to go, yeah, this is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I guess what I'm kind of getting at is like, I wonder what the actual enforcement is going to be.
Yeah.
So,
good question.
Yeah, because China will not stop sending those disposables.
No, they won't.
No,
they won't.
Yeah, and so that's one of the things I'm really frustrated about as Zamplebox is like we're such a target. I mean, any direct-to-consumer online player is just total target. But it's the wholesalers that will be able to last a lot longer. Because I think what will happen is those disposables or whatever there will be an alternate distribution network where those products are out there, because there's just no way that they're going to be able to get enforcement at all these stores.
I think there'll also be a black market too. So I mean, if they can get them in, someone's going to sell them.
Yeah, and the funny
thing might be the
guy
on the corner of the street. I don't know, but someone's going to sell them. They can get them in.
Snapchat was a big catalyst in
and
funneling the THC carts to people. And Snapchat didn't seem to give a rat's butt about any of that nonsense. I'm certainly not suggesting that vape companies turn to Snapchat. I'm just saying,
there are other avenues.
There will be backdoor avenues. I mean, we're probably one of the most resourceful communities on the planet. You know what I mean? If it isn't having access to DIY materials, I mean, we're crafty. So we'll find a way through the weeds,
Well, I mean, look, the first mod was basically a modified flashlight. Okay. So if we were able to figure out how to make a vape out of a flashlight, people will figure it out.
I think the troublesome one for me was the point that John brought up a couple shows ago about the bill that they're trying to pass in California that would effectively knock out the ability to turn to DIYing.
Yeah, stopping all of it altogether in California. You won't be able to
you can't get your NIC, you can't get your VG, your PG, or your flavors, because that was an automatic thing that people could shift to right away. They could say, well, if I can't buy juice online, and I can't get it in the shops anymore, then I'll just go to DIYing. I'll go back to its roots. And now they're attacking that.
Well, they're getting smarter. They're getting smarter because they're listening to us, and that's that. There's no way around it. We're going to talk about it, and
they have our playbook. Yeah,
they have our playbook. They're listening. They're finally listening. So so they're seeing. Well, you think about the first legislation that went through, and then everybody's like, "Dude, this thing is full of loopholes." And everybody just went right around every little loophole that they did because they didn't understand how
it works.
Yeah, they didn't take the time to figure out how it worked.
It's, in my opinion, because I have been thinking about this for a pretty long time, and like several years ago, I wanted to start a branch of Zamplebox that was actually just basically licensed in China, and that China would actually just operate under it and just continue to send in, because it's really obvious that that's where it's going. Is that I think like all brands are just going to be licensed and probably just licensed to some Chinese company that's just sending you all the flavors you know and love, from like the OG flavors too, like Cutwood and Cosmic, and like all this long tail of flavors you know and love, but they're just coming in from China. And I think until the United States government has an actual playbook of stopping that, like that's just what's going to happen. Look at all the counterfeit goods every year that come through China. Like just
what makes me angriest is that
it's crazy.
This is going to drive people to, how do I put this? It's going to drive people to be criminals. Like I have to go buy my vape stuff like I'm going to buy a bag of weed.
Yeah, the old days. Like the old days.
Yeah. You know, I don't want that to be the case. Like, oh, geez, now I got to call my guy and go meet him, somewhere and be like, here you go, man.
Yeah.
You know, I just need to get my vape fixed because I'm not going to smoke cigarettes. I won't do it. And
I won't.
That's what they think that will happen when they put these types of things into motion. Yeah. Like, well, we'll just get them back on the cigarettes. We get money from that.
How strange is that conversation be for a bystander when someone's walking up to somebody and going, hey, you got any of that strawberry vape? Got any of that strawberry?
Cookies? Dave's not here, man.
I'm looking for chocolate donut.
You got chocolate donut? I can just listen the look on the bystander's face, like, what the hell? What kind of transactions being done here?
Yeah. But that's the thing is, I've had a lot of conversations with many different types of people. You know, smokers, non-smokers, people who are.
Hey guys, one second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Anti-vape and all that stuff, and if you talk to somebody who's really anti-vape, they really think that you're crazy.
They do.
And
they don't understand what it is that you do.
Yep. Especially with all like the facts that you actually have behind you, they will not believe you no matter what you say.
Yeah,
I know.
The people who smoke have a tendency to think that it's worse for you than smoking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people tell me that, like, it's going to kill you. I'm like, I've been doing it for about 10 years. No problem whatsoever. Yeah, but that recently that stuff, I'm like, it's not what I'm using. It's totally different stuff. And they're like, well, I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to stay smoking. And I tell them, like, okay, well, I finish off that conversation. And then I see them later on and I start talking to them again. Like they start to realize that I'm not full of crap. And I try to really help them without being a jerk. I've helped them get off smoking because I told them, like, I used to smoke too. I smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day. If I can quit, you can quit too. And I can help you with that. Yeah. And so, you know,
and that's the whole thing. That's sort of like the quicksand of it all is that, you know, you're talking about quitting smoking, which for smokers, because we were all there, that's probably one of the hardest things to commit to or want to do.
Because they don't want to.
It's almost like the keto diet. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I know you want to lose some weight. I found this really great diet, and I'm going to tell you all about it. And you'll actually like it because, like with keto, you can eat bacon, and you know it's not like eating 1 carrot on a plate. You know what I mean? So you're giving them an option to go to something that I think is far more fulfilling and satisfying with so many options and applications. And to top it all off, that's the hurdle that you suffer, is that you have to get through that. It's so much safer than what you're doing, but it's going to give you a great transition off of smoking because it's going to give you an activity or an action or an experience that is in some ways similar to it. You know what I mean? And that's just such a hard battle to fight. Like with my parents, I would never have that battle because they're just like, oh, we don't want you to put anything in your system. And then I have to say, oh, well, I get it. You know, yeah, you're right. Like I should probably just be breathing fresh air. I shouldn't be putting anything in my system. But let's look at the victory at hand. Not a few years ago, you were like, you got to quit smoking, quit smoking, quit smoking, quit smoking. And I was able to have that conversation with them. And I wish that having that conversation wasn't so murkied by the waters of what has happened in the last 8 to 10 months with the media and the hype that's gone on around it. And
it was all about something, you know, I mean, this was a conscious thing at Zamplebox when, you know, way back when, but like when you see someone with a vape and they're blowing a cloud, like the reaction should be, and I actually believe we got it there for a time. For a lot of people, it should be, wow, that's great. That is great for that person. You know, that's great that they made the switch. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
well, the media has vilified it so much. I'll give you an example. I have a friend that I want to say he's 23, 24 years old. He's, you know, an upwardly mobile young guy. He makes good money. He's a plumber. And he smoked. And I was like, man, you got to stop smoking, dude. He's like, oh, no. Whatever. Hem and hawed. I gave him a setup. He liked it. I gave him another setup. He liked it. So I just kept giving him stuff, kept him off cigarettes for like a year. Go over to a cookout, and he's over there smoking a American Spirit. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, dude? He goes, well, you know, the stuff in the media, I was getting really nervous about it. And then I was starting to, you know, get some coughing and stuff. I'm like, what were you vaping when that happened? Oh, I was using the Juul. I started buying the Juul. I'm like, oh, well, dude, you were vaping 50 milligrams of nicotine. Yeah, you probably weren't feeling very good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, I just, you know, American Spirit are good because they don't have all the, you know.
I love that one.
Like,
I love that one. That one's
said,
always
okay.
They're organic, dude.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, that was the thing I talked about.
Giving you stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing I talked about a few shows ago. I don't know what happened, because it seemed like I remember the blue commercials, and I remember it being on TV. I remember it being on the Phil Donahue show, and everybody just praising this product, and finally smokers have something that's going to help them quit. And I don't know what happened from that time period to the period where, well, obviously it became a $1 billion industry, which opened eyes, but it just seems like the general public all of a sudden went from like, oh my God, here's finally a product that's going to help these people quit smoking, to, oh my God, this is going to kill you. You know, it's weird, because I remember.
It's powerful.
Yeah. I just remember.
I feel like it was Juul, it was Nick Salts, like something in there, because my guess is also that with tobacco companies, that amongst their internal surveys, they were like, you know, a mass switch over to vapor product, probably not too realistic and not really much of a threat. Like, there's just a lot of the smoker base. It's like, this is too complicated for them. Like, the readily available nature of cigarettes and how fast their uptake is, like their cheaper entry point. Like, don't worry, we have time. And then I think Nick Salt's come around, and, you know, specifically Juul, and I think that.
But what I'm talking about kind of happened before Juul, though, Tony. Don't you think so? It kind of happened before Juul.
It was the blue commercial with Jenny McCarthy on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that hate for vaping happened.
You're talking about like way back. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that happened before Juul. I mean, it was when the general
FDA
public
started to talk about it. It was around August 8th, 2016. So.
Well, that's I mean, that is absolutely like that, because I was even going through, and this was yesterday, we were going through and kind of like looking at the life cycle, and I mean, it was in early 2016 when the rhetoric started really amping up.
Yep.
You know,
I would agree.
It was like February. I went through yesterday. I was trying to like figure out when did that whole mindset change, and it was like early 2016.
Yeah.
And then it culminated obviously into August 8th, 2016 as a date, and then we became a regulatory stance, and kind of the battle happened. And I think there started to be the grassroots initiative was starting to really work, and you had a lot of different vapor products companies. But man, when Juul started really taking off, and you started to have the funds start coming, basically when you started to have a more limited SKU model taking off, which is Juul, consolidating limited SKUs, that started to defeat the manufacturer base that could afford to support the movement, right? Because there's limited SKUs that are controlled by fewer and fewer companies. And so it just became, I think, you know, not enough funding going into our movement in combination with an actual problem. I mean,
what was their total market It was high. Juul's total market was insane.
Yeah, what's crazy is if you look at Puff Bar, like just go and look, like go on like Google Trends and like look at Puff Bar. It is insane.
Huge. Yeah.
I mean, they're outselling Juul, and Juul is just.
I think they took Juul's business because they have flavors.
Yeah. So I mean, like,
think about pretty good.
Think about what those tobacco. Think about what like Altria executives are thinking right now. They're just like, we just screwed the pooch. Like, we've got to get this one reined back in. Like, invest $1 billion in lobbying. That's nothing to get this thing back in their wheelhouse. You know.
Well, you were talking about not enough funding too. Around that time frame that you're talking about too is when we ended up, as the vapor industry, ended up having all these different groups pop up, and they all wanted money to help fight. Well, there's only so much money from all of us to spread around, and we had to figure out who were the better people to funnel that to.
Yeah.
But there's no direction for that. So that's kind of where I think.
Well, I think it all happened so fast. You know, like NRA was always, in my opinion, the best example to look at as like a really well operated,
industry
organization. Yeah. I mean, you're defending guns and assault rifles, and like clearly someone can make it happen. But I mean, guns have been a lot slower and longer term, base that's grown. Like vaping really, it's really happened fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we really had the time to
organize.
Yeah. You have to imagine, like, some of these companies are going from making really nothing to now they're all of a sudden pulling in like 500 grand profit in a month, $1 million profit in a month, but they're also not sure if that's going to continue to go. So it's not like their company had been set up and they're doing $1 million a month profit. And they're like, yeah, let's put 50, 100, 150 to work. If you're like a 20 something and you're all of a sudden,
a millionaire,
huge amount of money, but you also 3 months ago were making zero. You're kind of not like so into just giving this away. So
you had a lot of people who opened up shops who weren't business owners before, who did this as a hobby and like, hey, I can make money doing this while having it as my hobby at the same time. Well, in retrospect, you're not like saving up your bundles and trying to help with the fight. You're like, I have a successful job now. I'm making a lot of money. I can provide for my family now. And that was the focus too on some people's ends.
Yeah, definitely. Sure. And also, like, you have to look at it too. If you're a business owner, and in that example, let's say you're making like $50,000 profit a month, or let's actually use a more realistic example. You're making like $5,000 profit a month, and you're owning a vape shop, and you haven't made, a $5,000 profit after paying yourself. You haven't made that ever before. And, your previous 2 retail businesses didn't really work out. And now you've actually got something going here that aligns with what you love. But it's a pretty tall ask to have someone give like 20% of their profit or something like $1,000,
a month.
But they really honestly, like, they look at it as an investment too, that like totally could not pay off. So I don't know. I just think that all of it happened in retrospect. I think that the story will say that it all happened really fast. It didn't properly organize, but not necessarily anyone's particular fault. It's just like we needed more time, and we were up against massive
organizers and
that had
entirely based
years and years to get ready for this. Yeah.
Well, they also made it. The government also made it so that even if you were to donate any of that money to one of these programs like CASA, it's not a write-off. It's not a write-off. So that made
I can come off as doom and gloom on this, and I really don't. I want to be really clear about that. I believe that we're definitely going to enter a period of prohibition for the products that we know and love, but that doesn't mean that like vaping is over, right? Like cannabis was in prohibition for a very long time, and now it's like way more accepted than vaping. There's a lot of things that can happen. Alcohol went through a prohibition period. This could be a prohibition period that lasts a year and is a colossal failure, and it's unwound. Maybe it's 5 years. Okay. Maybe it's 20 years, but like eventually, it will break through.
Yeah.
Because it's just a better technology.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people want that breakthrough now, though, instead of later.
Yeah, but I maintain. See, here's the thing, and this is just honest truth. Like the reality is the messages that we all get from whatever source, they have a bias, and so we naturally are going to hear a bias in a lot of our media in vaping that we need to rally to fight the fight because it is at risk of going away. But what does that really mean? Okay, like what it really means is like the current vaping system, like the current vaping ecosystem could go away, meaning like Zamplebox might not be selling you vapes anymore. You see, or like Mojo vapes might not be able to sell them, or name your current supplier. But the reality is I don't think very many people, when truly asked about it within the industry, believe that the consumer is going to not be able to access vapes. I just think they're concerned that they aren't going to be able to sell them those products. They're going to lose control of the business. I mean, and as a business owner, I'd be totally fine. I obviously am saying this publicly, but I'm totally fine being public on the record saying that I would never ever bet ever that 90+% of our current customer base will not have access to vapor products. Yes, the supply might be a little
limitless
for a while, but that business will then be owned by other companies and they won't be as fast to act, but they'll come out with more innovative products and put them through PMTA. Or PMTA will just fail because people are getting them on the black market and then like I really believe that we will prevail. People have access to products because, frankly, the economics are better. Consumers like them better.
Yeah,
it's just all around better.
Yeah.
Tobacco companies love it too. They're like, finally, a product that is equally addictive, in some cases more addictive than cigarettes. It doesn't kill you. It keeps our customer alive. I mean, in the most sick, heart, perverse way, it's true. Like they're like, finally.
Yeah, see that's the thing I noticed. Like in the beginning when I started vaping, I saw that two groups. I saw that group that was about the old industry, and that group that says I don't want nothing from tobacco. Whether if this company gets sold out by Big Tobacco and they make the same product, I'm not gonna trust them. I'm not gonna buy the product. And I'm thinking to myself, why? I mean, I get it. I don't trust Big Tobacco. They screwed a lot of people over for hundreds of years, but obviously that's where we're going. Am I right, Tony? I mean, that's who's got the money.
Maybe, right? Like, or maybe it's like a huge black market. I mean, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Key is like, if people are not smoking cigarettes and they're using vapor products, I think that's what matters.
Yeah.
And if there's ability to have access to smokers and that they increasingly have the education, that we're able to get the education out there and that smokers have the products. Like for me, it's always just been about public health. And that's why starting in 2016, it was so hard because we were basically had a gag order by the federal government. So that's where it became really not as fun, if I'm being honest about it. Like it went from like every day was awesome because the mission was so aligned, like help people become in-state tobacco free. Like just make sure these products get out there to people. That's the mission. And sure, something will come back our way that allows us to continue doing this and run a profitable business. But there was a clear mission and still there today. But I believe that now it's out. Like like Tony, you remember like in 2013, 2014, like it wasn't obvious that vaping was going to be big or successful.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Like
in North Carolina. I was going to say in North Carolina, you couldn't even find them. My first vape came from San Diego. My mom came out to visit and she brought me one. I was like, I've heard about those things. I don't know. And I tried it and was like, oh, dang, this is good. It tastes like berries.
Yeah. Exactly.
I was on cigarettes in 2 weeks. So
yeah. So the thing is, like, vaping was really like super early adopters, and it was struggling to get a lot of traction. Then the ego came out. Then you had this explosion, and it was really about just reaching the early majority, and that's what Juul brought. So like, as much as Juul is frustrating because they really kind of screwed up a lot of things, at the end of the day, when Juul came out, I actually really wrote it off, which is really unfortunate. There's a funny story there. I actually know the guy that was an early investor in it, and he told me about what they were doing and like that there was going to be this small vape coming out, and I was like, oh yeah, but people don't like those cigalikes. Like,
right?
It's all about the big prices, baby. That's what I told him. I completely wrote it off, and oh man, yeah. So the point is, though, is once Juul came out, and it really, I mean, I remember going to like meetings. Like I remember Charn from Vape Rev. I don't know if you guys remember Vape Rev.
Yeah, I remember.
But I remember I went to like San Diego to meet with him, and got off the plane, like got into his cool Porsche, and there he is, like vaping a Juul, and like I had a Juul too, and all of a sudden you notice everyone who was in the industry was vaping Juuls, selling their product. They were selling 30 ml bottles of like 3 milligram and not using their own product, and they were all using Juuls, and it was like,
yeah.
And everyone knew it, like in the industry, like, everybody knew it, and
I remember that feeling.
yeah, everyone was like, okay, this is like something big happened. Let's not really talk about it. Like, you know, what else is going on, man? But and I think the Juul ultimately was the one that, you know, they were the one that got it to the early majority. And now I think the rest is history. Like it's being cloned. It's in Malaysia. It's in China making their own versions. It's global. Like I honestly feel like it's really cool that I was able to be a part of that early phase of being a part of that, you know? And I feel as though I can rest that chapter and be like, we did something great here. You know, we don't need to fight it. We don't, like Tony, your videos were important. Like John, you and everything that you brought, you know, to the community, and everyone else that's a part of the community. Like everyone did this part, and it was really valuable. And I feel like we just need to make sure that when when this chapter is like eventually closed, whenever that is, that it's really clear that like, you know, we want to go down on top. You know, we don't want to go down like without pride in that sense, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Anyway, that's my rant for the
that's the thing is with the Juul stuff. I watched that whole phase. Tony kind of knows this. And I had two different sides of this whole Juul thing. One is the good side where vapes are getting into hands of people that weren't there before. They're all over. People are using them. It was helping people quit, all that stuff. But then on the other hand, it's Juul. So, I mean, you had this constant fight back and forth. And the thing that stuck with me is I ran into a guy on the street, and you know, I was using my Juul at the time, and some young college kid, and he comes up to me, and he shakes his Juul, and it lit up like different lights. And he said, well, why don't you be my light buddy? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, if you shake these things, they shake different colors. And I'm like, I stopped and thought in my head, what the heck is going on right now? Like, that was the weirdest thing. I'm like, I'm done with my Juul. I'm like, I'm done with this. This was quite a while ago. And I'm like, I stick to the stuff that I know and still try to keep helping people at the same time. Cause I'm like, this is just a very weird plane of the field right now. And I don't want to be a part of it.
I mean, I feel like there is a place for the disposables and things like that. And that's where I'm conflicted because, you see, I'll give you an example. I have friends that I have, because, look, I have unlimited crap. If you want vape stuff, I've got it, okay? You know? So, you know, I have friends that I have.
That's a big crime if you give it away without a tobacco distributor's license. And
then I'm in trouble too. Then I'm in trouble too.
Arrested a kingpin here.
Because I give this stuff away all the time. But no, I'll give them product, and I'm like, here you go, man. Here's like 5 bottles of juice and 2 mods. Go to town. Yeah. And they'll do good for like a week until that first time they have to change a coil or something. And then, you know, I'll go over to their house and they're smoking. I'm like, why are you smoking, man? Hey, there's wifey. I'll be like, why are you smoking, man? And they'll be like, well, I tried to, it started to leak and I couldn't figure out, and then the coil tasted bad, and I'm like, why didn't you call me? I would have come to your house and helped you.
Yeah.
No, it's just it's too hard. It's easier to take the cigarette out of the pack, light it, and put it out.
we have to look at things. So, okay, not to go like too technical, but there's what's called Simon Sinek refers to this. I think it's a separate thing, but the law of diffusion of innovation, right? Where you have your innovators, they're like 1%. Then you have early adopters, like 3.5%. There's like early majority, or maybe it's 17%. There's early majority is like 25. And then it goes all the way down onto the other side where you have at the very far end, the 1% that are the laggards that will still literally be buying and using rotary phones. It's just they can't buy them or service them anymore. Right. So like, and so like a lot of us are on that spectrum more early on. Like we are, either innovators or maybe early adopters, or you're maybe early majority, right? And so I think we've kind of lumped in at times vaping holistically into that curve when it's actually very relative to the person. So like the majority of the population is either, a large majority of the population is just early adopter, or early majority, late majority. I mean, that in and of itself is like 55% of the people. And so those people, they really need just like plug and play systems. It's kind of like how, K-cups and like Nespresso pods are super popular. It's like, dude, it's really easy to talk to. Yeah.
Or
that's what I'm saying. There is a place for that because, look, I would rather you use those, even though I think the waste of throwing the whole thing away and all that is bad. I'd much rather use those than smoke a cigarette. One of my friends that I've been trying to get off of the cigarettes for a long time has horrible acid reflux. Just happens to be a symptom of smoking cigarettes, and he does not see that. Yeah. He will not see it. He's like, no. It was the vape that was doing it to me. I'm like, it was not the vape that did it to you.
Yeah, I think that this is a huge mistake, by the way, on like in terms of our organization and our logic as an organization, like as an industry or consumer group, whatever you want to call it, is I really think we should have taken the stance more aggressively that vaping is simply a technology. It is like vaping and then there's fire. Okay. So vaping is simply just a technology. Now, the question is, what are you vaporizing? Like, okay, that's a separate
I got that a lot.
You don't necessarily like, there are things that aren't, made to be vaporized that then you vaporize. So like, how are we going to, I really feel like the key is to just simply view vaping as just a technology. It's just an alternative to fire. It's like fire is not inherently bad. It's like if you go and take fire and go to the fuel pump, it's probably bad.
Well, that's what they took away from us. That's what they took away from us in 2016 was the ability to educate the general public about vaping, and that's what hurt.
I still kind of do it.
Still have is that like had the public had the opportunity to be educated, this would be a very different story. The public never had the ability to
understand how the whole thing worked. I mean, even to this day, I mean, I know people know that I had vaped for years, and they still. I've explained it to them, and they still don't have a clue on how it all works.
How do you know what's in that thing? I'm like, I know what's in it because I made it, or I know what these. It's funny because I put this to one of my older friends. She's 72. She says to me, "Wow, listen, Tony B, I don't know what's in that stuff," and her whole thing was that, that they would be sneaking drugs or something into it. And I was like, okay, let me just tell you something. For my days back in high school, when I did a lot of drugs, there's nobody trying to give you free drugs. Okay? No. Nobody's slipping drugs into your vape. Okay.
That costs money. At least.
And I was going to say not for free. And then, I said, as far as what's in it, every one of the companies that I buy from, if I don't make it myself, I know what they use. There's 4 ingredients or 3 if there's no nicotine. It's quite simple.
Yeah. Well, that's what I talk to people about when I work for shops and stuff. Is that people would come in like, I'm looking to quit smoking, and I would tell them like, just so you know, due to FDA regulations, I cannot tell you that this is better for you. I cannot tell you it's going to help you. I cannot tell you this. But what I can tell you is, with my help, I can help you quit that.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
it.
what
That's
I would
it. Those are your limited to saying.
Can't say anything but here. Let me say something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to tell you that the Royal College of Physicians in the UK, who is the body that first said that tobacco caused cancer, says this is 95% safer. I'm not supposed to tell you that.
Yeah.
If you want to look it up, you might find information.
Yeah.
While you're at it, look up the MSA. Yeah.
All right, guys. Our show's about to end. It's at the 2-hour mark. I want to thank both the Tonys for joining us. What we always do is we say our goodbye. So, Tony, you can go ahead and go first. Say goodbye.
Okay.
Tony B. I'm going by Antonio. Remember?
That's right.
Tony B, go first.
All right, I'll go first. Well, I want to thank you guys for having me on tonight. And next week on the channel, if you are curious about squonking and have never done it, this is going to be, to me, the ultimate squonk mod. It's waterproof. If you get stuff all over it, you just wash it off. It's a beautiful thing. Plus, I live at the beach, and if you're walking down the beach one day and the clouds roll in and it starts to rain on you, you ain't got to worry about it.
And when is
life proof?
And when is that?
Well, we're going to be announcing it next week. They will start pre-orders next week. Like I explained earlier, I hate them, but pre-orders next week, and then they should ship mid-July. So I appreciate that you guys gave me a chance to tell you all about that, and most of all, I really appreciate your support.
Yeah,
you know,
support your channel, Tony. The nicest guy in vaping.
Sometimes it comes back to bite me.
It comes back to bite you. And Tony M. Antonio.
I'll go.
All right, Tony. I'm going to make it harder on you, Tony. You ready? You're going to have to say your goodbyes in Italian.
Uh-oh.
No. Because there's a little bit more.
Throw one of these in there.
I need some more sauce. I need some more sauce.
Thank you for tuning in. We got more sauce.
Leave the gun. Take the cannolis.
We got a problem with the FDA.
That FDA.
Yeah.
You know, that's racist.
Yeah, exactly. Very.
I'm kidding. Jokes.
Yeah.
Cancel, Tony.
I wasn't the one doing it. I did.
Anyway, cancel culture can try its hand on me. I'll actually stand up. Anyway, so guys, I just want to say thank you for having me on. It's always fun. I hope to be on soon again. This is a blast. You guys are all super awesome. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I just love that this is going on. I think this is just great. It's just so good. I can't believe all of the years really that we continue to be resilient. And it's honestly through moments like this that's actually true. Yeah. So it's one thing to just put something out there. It's a whole nother thing to get together in real time. And John, I want to thank you, dearly for putting that together, and for everyone though, for making that possible. So seriously, it's very appreciated.
My amazing co-host Tony, Tom, and our resident rocker there, Tim Smith, and Brian.
That's right. The rocking is really alive. Okay. We didn't get to talk about any hunting, but I imagine there's some stories with that bow you got up there.
That bow's never left the shelf.
Yes, it has.
It's a trophy bow. It's a trophy bow.
Tony, it has suction cups on the front of it. There's no.
We got some big rifles up there too. Maybe you're doing some big game, or I don't know. Not sure.
One of those rifles is so old. Billy the Kid used it.
I wish.
Yeah.
All right,
guys, been really good. I've certainly said my part there. And the other thing I want to make really clear too, we implemented a lot of the feedback from the last show. So if you have any more feedback, keep it coming. It's totally valuable. And those gators, remember, those gators are going live. Anybody that buys a box on like the 15th for like a month are going to get one, including all members. So
awesome.
pretty sweet. Yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. So
that's going to have
when you go to the local, restaurant to get takeout, you better be repping that. It says, Zamplebox Original Vape Family.
Is it going to have the ZB logo right in the middle?
Yeah. It's right here.
Nice.
Try to mug. Try to mug me. It's basically right there.
Yeah. Nice.
So we'll do some cool videos with funny videos,
that'll be good.
I saw a mask that their seltzer company. They're putting out a mask that has a little thing that pops up in here, and you can stick a straw, and you can drink with your mask. I'm like, we need a vape mask.
Yeah, we need a vape mask.
That's just smart.
Close it back up.
Well, that's an interesting idea. Maybe we should make a little video of how to convert it into a functional vape mask.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
A little hole in it.
All right, Tim, your goodbyes.
My goodbyes. I'll keep it short and sweet, but I would say to anybody out in the ZB family community, we're really fortunate that we're able to bring this program to you every Wednesday. We don't do it just for ourselves to hear ourselves talk. We do it for you. So keep the conversations alive. And don't stop asking questions. You've got a plethora of knowledge wrapped up in everybody that takes part in this. So remember, no question is a dumb question. Ask away and use this as a resource. And vape on, vape strong. And thank you to everybody here.
Yeah, Tim. Yeah, baby. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Bringing it home.
I'm not going to go to Tom because Tom's just going to say what.
No, I'm not.
Oh no. Okay, go ahead, Tom.
I didn't take his line tonight. He's happy.
No,
go ahead. You're not going to say what Tim said.
No.
Okay.
I have my own thoughts for once.
All right, bang. Throw him out.
Quiet, old man. First, I want to thank Tony B for everything that you do in the industry and for releasing the Pulse, which, like I said earlier, got me into squonking. Tony M, I want to thank you for starting Zamplebox. Without that, I wouldn't have the friends that I do now. And amazing box every month.
You're welcome, and I'm glad you love it.
Also, everybody that's watching, click that link that keeps scrolling on the bottom for CASA. It's very important, and without it, we're in trouble. And with that, have a good night.
All right, Brian, North Dakota, Brian.
Well, I just want to say for both Tonys, thanks for coming on the show. It's always a blast. I love the talks that we always have. It's always very informative, no matter if we already covered it or not. We always have really good opinions on everything. Secondly, for Tim, happy birthday again.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, happy birthday.
It was like a few days ago. So
he survived it. He survived it too.
I made it, and I got out of it with all my hair.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed learning about islands tonight and to other people that aren't from my state, which is not very many. So this is my chance to actually visit with other people. So it's great.
Yeah. All right. I want to thank both the Tonys again as well. Tony B, your channel's been important to me. Like I said, it was one of the first channels that I actually got to see a whole bunch of different products, whether it was MTL, whether it was direct lung, it was dual mods. So it was great. Your channel was a big help for me on exactly what I was going to buy next. I mean, so it was important. Zamplebox. Hey, everybody knows I love Zamplebox. Everybody knows. Without Zamplebox, hey, Tony. I got to throw these out there. Without finding Zamplebox, I think like most of the people like me that live in a small town, limited to what I was able to buy. It was great. I mean, and like I always tell the story, I felt like I know I'm old, but when I walked into a vape shop 5-6 years ago, I really felt old because it was just like I was just around 18. Yeah. So when I saw that, it was funny too because it was a regular ad on something else that I was at. It came up on Google and it was just down there on the bottom. It said Zamplebox. I mean, I didn't even find it from a YouTube channel or anything. It was just an ad that was on the bottom of something else I was looking at. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's Zamplebox. So I appreciate that.
Do you specifically remember? Was it just the big ad that just said Zamplebox?
Yeah, it was just the ad that said Zamplebox, and it was on. Yeah, it was just on the bottom of something else that I was looking at, and it came up down there, and I was like,
"We'll try running those again."
Huh?
Yeah, we'll try. I'll try. I'm not even joking. Like tomorrow,
Yeah.
I'll try messing around with that again.
Yeah.
I literally thought like, let's try putting it out there with just nothing about what we do. Just
Zamplebox. That's
just
all it said.
Zamplebox. People will be like,
I just clicked on it for the hell of it. I was just like, what is this? Zamplebox? I clicked on it. I was like, oh, vape. I was like, all right. Thank you again, guys. Both of you guys. Thank you, Tim, Tom, and Brian. It's a great show tonight. And we'll see everybody next Wednesday at 6 p.m. That's it.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you again, guys.
Thank everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.